I really enjoy teaching social media, especially to real estate agents. I've been working with you guys for a long time, and I always learn something new when I teach these classes with working with you guys. And one of the things I also enjoy is hopefully making this a little easier for you so that I know there's kind of always a love-hate relationship of marketing and social media for agents. And I hope with some of the training that I come up with that it seems like you can leave the class and say, okay, there's a couple of things in that class that I know I can do for sure, and I'm confident in doing it, and it's not a big deal. So let me go ahead and we'll jump right in. So what is LinkedIn? Well, it's not just for job searches and updates. It's a platform that offers a great place to educate clients and make meaningful professional connections. I always like to think of LinkedIn as your online resume, kind of like for those of us that remember old school Rolodexes, it's kind of like your Rolodex and your resume in a digital sense. That's when I think of LinkedIn, that's what I think about. Why do we do LinkedIn? Because they have an excellent place for us to showcase our skill set and to connect with our sphere of influence or our people who know us and our past clients. And it helps us offer a professional presence to potential clients who may be researching you before they meet you. And guys, we live in the day and age where most people are reading, 20 reviews before they buy a $12 toaster on Amazon. Okay. So if we think to ourselves, hey, somebody's not really researching me and checking me out before they hire me, you're kind of kidding yourself at this point. Consumers are very smart. They're very savvy. They're very tuned in. And many of them are jumping online, especially if they use LinkedIn in a professional sense, in an executive sense, and they may be checking you out on here. So it's really important that you have a professional presence. So when do you update LinkedIn? Well, I often say LinkedIn is it's your living, breathing resume. So when you've got something important that's happened in your business, that's a great time to post. And I think most of you can come up with a post a month about what you're doing in your business or what you've learned. So Vicki, you and I were having a great conversation about building materials. That's an interesting fact that a lot of people don't know. That would be something interesting in a professional sense to share about, new builds. And this is some of the things that you need to consider. Other things I like to see agents to do is say, hey, in the month of March, I was able to close this many transactions. These are some of the neighborhoods I worked in. These are some of the professional designations I took classes for this month. Here's a market update potentially for this neighborhood that you're interested in selling. Here's kind of what it looks like right now to sell your home in this neighborhood. Make sure that when you're doing these updates that you have all of your disclosures for marketing in there. And basically when I say disclosures, and your broker and the state offers some guidance on this as well. But mainly I like to look for that it's easy to understand that you're a real estate agent and where you're licensed to sell and how to get in contact with you. That's kind of what I'm looking for when I say, make sure your disclosures are appropriate. So somewhere in that post, because we all know how news feeds work. You're kind of scrolling, and you just see the post. And sometimes it doesn't have the whole snapshot as if you were on someone's profile. So always make sure to put your contact information in there and where you're able to sell real estate so consumers do not get confused. Because the last thing on social media that we like to see is a confused consumer who says, well, I didn't know, or I felt like something was misleading, or that kind of thing. So I always say, and every post that you do, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or anywhere else, make sure that everyone understands that you're a real estate agent and what you're trying to do. The other thing I really encourage with LinkedIn is if you haven't already done it, put the mobile app on your phone. And the reason I say this is because you are more likely to catch the messages that you are getting sent on LinkedIn and more likely to check the app and kind of see what's going on in there and engage with your sphere of influence than just remembering to log onto the desktop. I don't know how many times I've met with people and we're kind of doing a digital assessment and we're checking out their LinkedIn profiles and they haven't logged in a long time. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I have messages of people who were trying to get in contact with me and had no idea they were there. So one of the things that I recommend, because sometimes, we get inundated with email and messages and those kinds of things. And sometimes they don't get into the appropriate place in our inboxes. So having the mobile app and having your notifications set up for messages from your contacts on LinkedIn is probably one of the biggest tips that I can recommend for you guys today, is to make sure if you want to get more involved and post more on LinkedIn, have that mobile app downloaded so that you're not missing things. Another common question I get asked is, what kind of photography or things like that should I be using on LinkedIn? So LinkedIn is a super professional place. This is kind of like your personality and your presence you would want to bring to a job interview. So this is not a place for super casual headshots or pictures or things as your main profile picture. And guys, believe it or not, this is actually, and of course I blocked their faces out, but this is someone who was on LinkedIn job hunting, and this was his profile picture. So we want to make sure that we're looking nice and sharp. We're not doing super casual stuff. This is if people are shopping for a real estate agent to work with, you want to make sure that you have a sharp professional presence. And I always recommend headshots be updated at least every 2 to 3 years. We all look a little different every 2 to 3 years. And that way we don't get too far out from when people do show up to meet us in person, that we look similar to our headshots. Social media policy. Almost every office and franchise has one. And I always ask everyone to check with your employer, your broker, or whomever is kind of responsible for what you've got going on, to make sure that you have a copy of the policy and that you understand the policy. Some of the big franchises have different guidelines for using logos and colors. There's usually a code of conduct that you're obligated to uphold in these social media policies, and a lot of agents aren't aware of them or haven't looked at them in a long time. So whenever I'm teaching and training, I always like to throw out there to make sure that you mention your social media policy and you have a copy close by to make sure that you're on top of things. And always make sure that your broker is connected with you on anything that you do social media and say, hey, can you check out everything to make sure things look good so I can keep myself out of trouble? That's a really important thing. So LinkedIn is looking very different than what it used to. And again, I've been teaching and training for a long time, and I actually had some screenshots from a class, the first LinkedIn class I did from 2012. So this is what the old LinkedIn looked like. Okay, I'm going to jump right in here and I'm going to show you, we're going to go into the new LinkedIn. Okay, and this is what the new LinkedIn looks like. So you can see we have a lot of different things going on, and they've really done some changes to make things more organic, maybe look a little more like Facebook. And there's a lot of helpful things in here for you guys. Number one, the news feed, which I'm so glad they've kept this kind of trending news feed on the side here. This lets you know what's trending on LinkedIn and usually has some really awesome business articles that just kind of keep you in the know of what's going on in the business world, okay? And they're usually very helpful, kind of digest kind of sources of information. And it kind of lets you know what people are doing on LinkedIn. So this feature has been on there for a while and I really enjoy it. I usually try to check it out at least twice a week to kind of read the articles and things on here. And if there's anything on there that I feel is related to real estate or just related to like helping people in an office sense in general, that might be helpful to my network on LinkedIn, I'll always share it, because there's nothing that says that you can't share information other than real estate on your social media profiles if you think it might be helpful to your audience. So check that out. The other little thing that they've added here recently is there are a ton of free classes and helpful things on LinkedIn to help you. So if you need help with ideas for content, ideas, maybe you need a brush up on Excel. Maybe you need a brush up on just some basic Microsoft PowerPoint things. They have so many classes and information on here. It's a really big value add. Now, a lot of them are free, some of them are paid for, and I believe the paid for subscription for unlimited classes was, I want to say it was right around $20 a month. But when you see the quality of the classes and everything that you could learn on here, it's way beyond worth it. So I think that you guys, if you love to learn, if you love to take online classes, there is just so much content on here for all things professionalism. I think you'll really enjoy it. The other thing on the dashboard here is, of course, our main news feed, and you're going to see the updates of people that you're connected with. And this is also where you can kind of draft a post. So now when you go into draft a post, whereas before it was just kind of a strict kind of text kind of look to it, now there's more kind of social media features in here. So you can see at the top, you can add a photo, you can add a video, you can create an event, you can write an article. The write an article feature is really fun for, again, if you're only posting on here once a month, you can write a little article. You can write a market report of what's going on. You can kind of write a little longer post about what you've accomplished in your career. And what that'll do is it'll stylize your post there a little bit for you and just make it a little easier to read, and it'll make it easier for people to find you and follow you. One thing that LinkedIn does a really good job with is the people that you're connected to. If you post content on there, because LinkedIn doesn't move quite as fast as Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, where you kind of just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. It's because not as many people are posting. If you take the time to build a piece of content on LinkedIn, whenever the people that you're connected with log on, they're definitely for sure going to see what you post. And one thing I love about this is that kind of attention on your post is typically something that you would have to pay for on Facebook and Instagram in a business sense. Whereas on Facebook, if you post something, some of your friends may see it, but all of your friends may not see it because the way the algorithm works. But LinkedIn does a super great job of people that you're connected with. If you create content, they're going to make sure that someone sees it. So again, when you're posting on here, I know everyone's short on time these days, and it's just one more thing on my to-do list to make a post for LinkedIn. But I promise you, if you take the time to make the piece of content on here, the people that you're connected with are going to see it and really enjoy it. So then we've got some other things on our dashboard here. You can kind of, again, see hashtags that are trending. If you're a part of any groups or you've joined any groups, this is where you're going to connect right here. They're always, of course, going to be advertising for you as far as education or jobs here in the corner, because again, that's how LinkedIn makes its money. And then up here at the top, these are where you're going to have your basic kind of connections as far as your messaging, your notifications of who's been trying to connect with you, and your network. So one of the biggest questions I get about LinkedIn is, Rachel, who should I be connecting with and how often should I be connecting with them? So there's a couple of school of thoughts on LinkedIn. Some people that teach LinkedIn say connect with anyone and everyone. You want to have a super large network. My school of thought's a little different with social media in general, but especially with LinkedIn connections. I'm not going to connect with anyone that doesn't have a direct connection that I'm already connected with or has the potential to send business my way. So for instance, if I'm a real estate agent and I'm on LinkedIn, I want to spend time connecting with my past clients, people that I network with, maybe agents that I've closed deals with that I can say like, yeah, they did a great job, or I really enjoyed working with them. But I don't want my entire LinkedIn feed to be just connected with other agents in the area that are basically my competition, because that gets noisy really quick. And what you need to be when you're on social media is you need to be laser focused on connecting with people who are going to send you business. And when you're connected with just the majority of your connections are just other real estate agents, I just feel like it's kind of a circle there and it's not as productive as what it could be. So I recommend making sure that you check out your connections and make sure that your connections, the majority of your connections are people who could potentially send you business. So that's just kind of my school of thought. Everyone has a personal preference, but that's mine. because I feel like the world is a very noisy place right now. Everyone's time is limited. And when you guys jump on social media, I want to make sure that you're talking to the people who could potentially send you business and want to connect with you. And you're not just, trying to sort out through the noise to find business. I want the business to be ready for you when you log on. So the other question I typically get is, well, Rachel, I have a lot of connections and maybe I need to clean up some of my connections. So how do I unconnect from someone? So we're going to go up here to our dashboard and we're going to click on My Network. Okay. And you are going to see your invitations that you have pending that you can accept or ignore. Okay. You're going to see a couple of online events that you may or may not be interested in participating with. And then right here on this menu right here, you're going to see connections. Can everybody see that okay? Cynthia, can you see that okay? And under connections, you're going to click connections. And that's going to bring up everybody that you're connected with. And if you have some connections that maybe you want to clean up because you've got, again, a majority of people on there that aren't necessarily sending you business, or you don't even know who they are. I really think that there needs to be some kind of connection right now on social media with people that you're allowing access to your digital profiles. So I always tell everyone to be very cautious with who you're accepting connections and invitations from, and make sure that you verify that they're a real person, because that's how hackers and things are kind of attacking real estate agents these days. Is they know that agents are looking for leads and they kind of send some information and then all of a sudden click, and you've been hacked. So really check out who you're connected with. So you've got your connections pulled up, and if there's someone you need to disconnect with, see these three little dots? If you click on these three little dots, that'll bring up your trash can to remove the connection. Now, do people get a notice that their connection has been removed? No. But just like on Facebook, LinkedIn always makes suggestions of people you should be connected with based on your network. So someone may notice when they log onto LinkedIn, if you're a suggested connection, that's where they kind of may be like, oh, I thought we were already connected. And they may resend you the invitation, and that's where they may figure it out. But is LinkedIn going to send a message saying, hey, Rachel just unconnected with 15 people? No, they're not going to send that message. So, but I always think it's important for people to know how to add connections and remove connections, because that's an important part of your social media management. Any questions about that so far? Okay. So then we're going to go back to our main screen. We're going to just look at our profile in general. So we have a couple of different options here. Again, you can style your cover art with whatever you like. You just click on the pencil there and you can upload some things. You can upload a view if you like. You can upload a scene of your office. You can use a regular graphic like I've used here to kind of color match some of the things that you're doing with your headshot. You want to make sure that your headline says what you do, okay? And if you have any kind of specializations, don't be afraid to kind of put that in your headline to make your profile stand out a little bit more. Your about section, I've seen some people write a novel, and I've seen some people keep it very brief. For any kind of bio, I recommend 250 words or less. And the reason I recommend that is because unfortunately people do not like to read. So keep it short, keep it sweet, put your most important information that you would want somebody to know about you at the top, and then kind of your least important information there at the bottom of your bio. Keep it relevant. You should be updating your bio like your headshot at least every 2 years, because we learn and grow in our careers, and we get different awards and we know different things. So if you haven't updated your bio about you and your business in a while, now is a great time to kind of refresh your profile. You'll also see this featured box, okay? And this is where you can really feature if you've done some special listings or have some professional portfolio photography that you'd like to feature to kind of show people what it's like to work with you. This is a great place to do this. You're going to see your dashboard of who's looked at your profile, how many people have been looking at what you posted. And again, in job searches, if people are looking to work with you or real estate agents, you're going to see your job searches right there. As far as activity, this is where your posts are going to come into play. So you can see here recently I've posted some articles that I've written. And when you start posting more, LinkedIn, again, will find some people to follow you, which is a little bit different than a connection. They're not a direct connection, but if you make your posts public, people can follow if they're interested in what you're reading. So you can see as I post my articles, I have some people interested in my articles, so I've gained some followers there. You want to make sure that your experience is clear and easy to read. Got your education, any licenses or certifications there. Skills and endorsements. This one is a big one for me. Do not put skills down if you cannot do the skill, okay? Sometimes LinkedIn will make suggestions, or they have this little button here for skill quiz. Don't put that you're proficient in Excel if you can't actually make a spreadsheet. So I know everybody's favorite thing is to say they're Microsoft proficient, but be very specific with what you can and can't do. The other thing you need to be very, very cautious with is endorsements. Unless you know without a shadow of a doubt that someone is an expert in foreclosures, you shouldn't be endorsing them for that, because what happens is that endorsement stays on your profile. And see all these people that have endorsed me, okay? So sometimes I see agents go on there and they're like, oh, I like so-and-so, I'm going to endorse them. Yeah, it looks like they know that. Yeah, it looks like they know that. And they haven't actually ever done a deal with them. They can't verify that they work with foreclosures. They can't verify that they've worked in short sales. So just be very, very careful what you're endorsing on LinkedIn, because your name will always be attached to that endorsement. So really give that some consideration. You can put your accomplishments down if you're in any kind of publications or have any kind of special thing that you write in regularly. And this is a really cool bubble here. You can talk about your interests. So you can kind of put some interests together and LinkedIn will make some content suggestions for you. So one of the things I really love about LinkedIn is sometimes when I speak with agents, they just do not have a comfort level with Facebook anymore, because they're like, it's become a very unprofessional space. I really don't like spending time on there. It's kind of become a negative space. So LinkedIn is kind of my solution to that, as, hey, you can be on social media, you can advertise your business online. LinkedIn is a great place for that. It stays super professional, and then you don't kind of get bogged down with all of that. And it gives you a lot of opportunities to still network and connect with people. So I don't want people to ever feel discouraged if they feel like a certain kind of social media isn't for them. There's always different ways we can kind of brainstorm and work on strategies where we can adapt your personal social media experience to you. So any questions about LinkedIn before I kind of jump out of just the basics here? Okay, and one last thing I want to show you. This is a newer feature. And when I saw this feature come out, I was like, this is so perfect for real estate agents. So LinkedIn developed an interview prep assessment tool, and this is all under your dashboard, and I can send you the link directly to it if you're interested in it. So please feel free to reach out. But they've created this artificial intelligence that is supposed to help you prepare for a job interview. And I feel like as agents, every time we talk to a customer that we're trying to convert to a client, that's our opportunity. And we have like all these little job interviews, okay? So if you feel like you need practice with your rapport and talking with people and presenting yourself, LinkedIn has created this tool to help you. So with this tool, it's completely private, but they do have a get feedback option if you want. But you pull up your camera here, and they've got different questions for you to answer. I think there's like 36 questions. They're most common questions. And you record yourself answering the question. And then at the end of the video, the artificial intelligence goes and rates you and gives you suggestions of what you can do to improve your video and improve your response so that you can perform better in job interviews. And I just thought this was such a cool tool, especially for real estate agents, because a lot of agents, are facing a lot of stiff competition right now. And consumers may be interviewing more than one agent before they choose to work with one. And to me, I'm always a big fan of, practice and scripts and really practicing your craft. And I thought this was an excellent tool to help you out. So again, another free benefit there on this platform that I think is pretty awesome. So I'm going to jump back in to the presentation so we can get through this because I know everybody is busy. Kind of talked about the new layout. One thing I did not talk about that's specifically on the mobile app that I was pretty excited about is they've released LinkedIn stories. So for those of you that are into Instagram stories and Facebook stories, if you download the mobile app on LinkedIn, you actually have the opportunity to pop a couple LinkedIn stories there. Now they don't have as many features that Instagram stories and Facebook stories has, but let me tell you, when we're talking about engagement, and again, making sure people see it, your LinkedIn stories are going to do fantastic. So if you're looking for, I have limited time and I'm really looking to try a little bit of video, but I'm not quite sure how to do it yet, try the LinkedIn stories as a starter. They're very basic, very easy to use. You can't get yourself into a whole lot of trouble there. And I think you may really enjoy it. And again, when we're thinking of mobile versus desktop, always remember that mobile is going to have limited features. You can't see everything that you want to do in your LinkedIn profile. And desktop, you're going to have all the features. And sometimes people ask me, should I do the paid version of LinkedIn? And honestly, unless you work in a real estate office and you are in charge of recruiting, you really don't need the paid version. The free version is usually plenty of information for most people. We talked about not fluffing your skills. One thing I didn't talk about yet, but if you are involved in the community, this is a great place to, again, connect with those organizations and showcase your skills. Consumers really love to see agents who are involved in the community. That'll also help you network and connect with people there. So I think that's a great place for you guys to check those things out. We talked about connecting and unconnecting, showed you guys how to unconnect. And if any of you need help with cleaning up your profiles or you have direct questions about that, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to do a one-on-one session. Again, when we're working on content, make sure it's professional. Market updates are always great content. Engage, comment, and congratulate your connections on their accomplishments. Again, that's just another way to build your profile. And of course, if very, very easy content, if you can't think of anything else to put on LinkedIn, customer reviews, why wouldn't you want those permanently attached to where other people may be researching you? So customer reviews are always excellent content for LinkedIn. So that is pretty much what I have for you guys today. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Rachel, I saw as you were going through, you do some pop-ups like you do with Instagram and all. Mm-hmm. You share those with the board. So if we're interested in joining in on that, how do we find those?
When you're saying the pop-ups, specifically which ones were you talking about?
I saw one when you were going through your site, one for Instagram. You had a Zoom pop-up that you did on it that you would just kind of.
Oh yeah, for my other social media classes. Yes, I would be more than happy to. I can send those to Tammy and let her know my schedule. And I have some really fun ones coming up this month that I'm going to do for Instagram. I'm going to do for Google because I've been getting so many questions about Google and Google Maps. Mm-hmm. And these little pop-up classes are super short. Like I try to keep them like right at 20 minutes because I know everybody's busy, but I can definitely get those over to Tammy as well.
And I can reach out to you to make sure I get them, right?
Sure. Yeah. And we have a great little, if you guys want to be dropped into our Facebook group, we have this really fun Facebook group that's just for real estate agents where I try to pop on every day and put something helpful with technology or helpful with just your business practice. And JP, he's an admin, so he can definitely drop you guys into the group and make sure that you get into our group and get kind of our weekly posts. It's a really fun real estate group. So we have a lot of fun there. And I really try to put, again, one thing that's really important to me in my classes is to put things that I know you guys can do that aren't super complicated, that you need to have kind of a degree in marketing to execute, to accomplish it in your business. So I always try to put stuff that is easy to execute for you guys.
Thank you, Rachel. It looks like some good information, and yeah, if you'll send that stuff to me, I'll be happy to provide it to anybody that wants it. So
sure, I can definitely do that. And I'll be sending a video. I usually edit these down and I'll put it on YouTube, and I'll send a little video so people can go back and watch this too.
okay, yeah, because we're actually going to put that on our YouTube, so that'd be great.
Yeah, awesome. I can make that happen.
Thanks,
All right.
Rachel. Thank you so much.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.